2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, the 27th of April, and it's Morse Code Day. And a big happy birthday to Lizzo, Darcy Bussell, Tess Daly, and Jenna Coleman. Russia's war in Ukraine continued on Tuesday, with Russian missiles hitting and damaging a railway bridge between Ukraine and Romania in the Odessa region. It came as Russia appeared to threaten to drag Moldova into the war after a string of explosions knocked out radio transmitters in the Russian-controlled Transnistria region. President Zelensky posted an angry warning to Russia, telling them that they can spend all the resources in the world, but they will still lose.
The lessons of history are well known. If you are going to build a millennial Reich, you will lose. If you are going to destroy neighbors, you will lose. And if you go against Ukraine, you will lose.
There was controversy too, as UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres headed to Moscow before Kyiv to meet with Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. He did, however, call for an investigation of reported war crimes.
I'm concerned about the repeated reports of violations of international humanitarian and human rights law and possible war crimes, and they require independent investigation. The United Nations is ready to fully mobilize its human and logistical resources to help save lives in Mariupol.
His offer to move heaven and earth to resolve the crisis in Mariupol met with a blank response from Russian President Vladimir Putin, however.
There are no military operations in Mariupol. They've stopped. Parts of the armed forces of Ukraine, which were deployed in other industrial areas, they have surrendered.
Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Lavrov was busy warning NATO and specifically Britain against supplying any further military aid to Ukraine.
What would you expect if NATO is essentially engaged in a war with Russia through a proxy and arms this proxy? Being at war is being at war.
Meanwhile, in Ramstein, Germany, the US and its allies, more than 40 countries in total, met to discuss the next steps for aid to the Ukraine. It came as Russia says it's going to stop sending gas to Poland and Bulgaria from Wednesday in retaliation for their failure to pay for its gas in rubles. US Defence Secretary Lloyd Austin says the allies are determined to do everything they can to help Ukraine.
We know the burden that you all carry, and we know, and you should know, that all of us have your back. And that's why we're here today, to strengthen the arsenal of Ukrainian democracy.
The German government announced at the conference that they'll now supply 50 anti-aircraft tanks directly to Ukraine in a change of policy following strong pressure on Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The UK's Armed Forces Minister James Heappey was defending the UK's right to assist Ukraine with weapons that could strike within Russia.
It is entirely legitimate to go after military targets in the depth of your opponents to disrupt their logistics and supply lines. That is very much a part of war.
Labour's deputy leader Angela Rayner spoke out on Tuesday following the Tory misogynistic attack that ran in the Mail on Sunday. The article, which described her as a Sharon Stone-esque distraction to Boris in the Commons, led to a huge groundswell of support for her, with an apology from Boris and an invitation to the Mail on Sunday for a meeting with the Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle. The Mail's editor David Dillon, however, declined the invitation in the name of press freedom, and it's doubled down on the story in today's edition, with more Tory MPs quoting Rayner herself as laughing and joking over the tactic. Angela spoke to Lorraine on ITV, and she says while the support's been great, there was no need for the story at all.
It is frustrating that people think that about women from my background. Now, as a young person, grew up on a council estate, and, people who look down on people like me and are still doing that today, it says a lot about them, that that's what they think of us.
A brand new documentary dropped on Tuesday night, the outcome of a joint investigation between the BBC and The Guardian. It's called Tim Westwood Abuse of Power, and it accuses the ex-Radio 1 DJ of predatory and unwanted sexual behaviour between 1992 and 2017. Westwood, who's the son of a bishop, was an early champion of hip-hop in the UK and also presented MTV's Pimp My Ride, is currently on Capital Extra and he strenuously denies the allegations. One of the women, identified in the documentary as Isabel, described what happened when he picked her up in his car.
And when I got there, he was in a car. It's a complete assumption I've made that we're going somewhere to talk about the music. And then the next thing, he's undone his trousers. He actually tapped me to turn around and look at the fact that he's exposing himself. And I've seen, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Like, oh my God.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Man City in dramatic Champions League action, and la-di-da, Downton Abbey's back, don't you know? Right after this. Welcome back. Tuesday saw the first leg of the Champions League semi-finals get underway as Man City faced Real Madrid at the Etihad. It turned out to be a 7-goal thriller with an 82nd minute penalty from Karim Benzema, keeping Real in the tie as it finished 4-3. With no away goals ruled this season, Man City head to Madrid next week with plenty of work to do. Manager Pep Guardiola was very complimentary about Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid, but also happy with his own team's performance.
Yeah, we played a fantastic game, so all around the world watch the game, and for us, for Man City, we are so proud. But this is about to reach the final, and football sometimes, happen, and we're going to go to Madrid to try to win the game.
New Mexico police continue to investigate the on-set shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins during the filming of the Alec Baldwin movie Rust. A gun was discharged on set, killing Ms. Hutchins and injuring the director, and while the investigation hasn't reached any conclusion, police have released all of their files, including camera footage from set, crime scene photos and witness interviews. Alec Baldwin, who is both the producer and the star of the Western movie, can be seen on video footage from October 2021 answering questions from police officers.
It was a very tight shot.
Okay.
The shot was here, of me, not of me, it's of me pulling the gun slowly so they turn cocked.
Okay.
And she's right there, vulnerable, in a position she wouldn't ordinarily be if we were shooting, and this thing, boom, she hits the ground.
Good news for fans of butlers and country houses as Downton Abbey returns to the big screen. The second Downton movie, called Downton Abbey A New Era, hits cinemas this weekend, and it's got more upstairs-downstairs drama and a trip to the French Riviera. The cast all turned out for the red carpet premiere in London's West End, and Michelle Dockery, who plays Lady Mary, says it's not just more of the same.
It's a really different type of movie for Downton, and storyline. And I think the title, A New Era, is very much about the world sort of moving on and changing, and I think it's great to see the characters sort of adjusting to that.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.